Hey everybody, welcome back to Conrail's Boston Line. This is going to be a little montage for the bridge build. The first part, you can see I have the tracks up with some support, and I decided to use spackle to make a nice smooth area here for the parking lot, and the tracks are supported on a really thin piece of plywood with a foam retaining wall on the left hand side. Once I got the spackle dry, smoothed it out, and I'm using a combination of Woodland Scenics asphalt color and a combination of the white to give it a little bit lighter color than what would be just the asphalt. Next, I took measurements here because I have to custom build the bridge piers. So I measured where each pier was going to be. And then I'm going to start the scratch building process for the bridge piers. The bridge piers are a Central Valley product. The numbers on the screen. It essentially comes as a kit. You cut them out of the mold, and as you can see here, and they come in halves. So what I found easiest was I would cut them out, and then I would glue them together first to make solid pieces using the Micro Mart plastic weld. So you can see here you have two halves. They go together relatively easy. Once you glue them together, it makes the cutting much easier. Here's the Micro Mart plastic weld. I'll be honest, I'm actually not really crazy about this product. I'm using it because that's what I have. But what I found with it is that it dries the plastic very quickly. So if you're using it for like a small piece, it'll stay wet long enough to make the bond. But with these big, large girders, you really have to work quickly and then get the pieces together so that the plastic can chemically bond. So after you have your girders, I would put them into the little vise here with my little hacksaw, and you just cut it, and you can do a nice straight cut. And once it's glued together, it actually cuts pretty easy. The nice thing about this little jig is you can do the 45-degree cuts and the 90-degree cuts because not only am I scratch building the vertical piers, but there's also the internal triangle piers. So I use the Rust-Oleum product here, flat black, to just give it a base coat. The little joiner plates in the middle of the triangle, actually, you can see here, I made them way too big the first time. So I ended up redoing those, and I used a piece of styrene across the top just to give some stability for when you're actually building the entire piece. Because the scratch building process, well, it's not hard, but it does take some time, and it's kind of hard to work with if you don't. I really should have probably built a jig for the whole thing. So you can see here, this is just a thin piece of styrene cut into squares. I think I used 0.3 inches was the good size. I started with a half-inch piece, but it ended up being way too big. You can see the difference between the new pieces and the old piece. The old piece you got the idea, but it kind of looks silly. So once the new pieces are on, I spray painted it. You can see the picture here. This is the scene that I'm recreating here. And if you notice, the bridge piers are going into concrete abutments, which are roughly the same height as the concrete Jersey barrier. So I had some 3D printed Jersey barriers laying around. So I used that as my scale just to get a height for the concrete barriers there. You can see it's roughly the same size, and it worked out. For the concrete abutments, the little concrete abutments, the best thing I found to use was this 5/8 inch, I believe it's like a balsa wood. So it's relatively soft, but I used a chop saw, like an electric chop saw to cut it. I tried cutting it with my little handheld saw, but your hands get really tired really quickly. So a little benefit of the scraps is my son decided to make his own little signal bridge for his end scale layout. So that's it. This is, again, the scene that I'm going for. You can see it here. It looks moving along. Stay tuned for part 2, where I start with the actual finishing project. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.